The millionaire CEO warned, "Follow my rules or go." She walked away, but he refused to let her. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let us return to our main character. The evening air over downtown Chicago feels heavy, almost metallic, as Emily Carter steps out of the glass lobby of Halden Industries. She pulls her coat tighter, her breath unsteady. Her legs shake, not from the cold, but from what she has just done. She walked out on Nicholas Halden, the millionaire CEO, who signs her paychecks, commands entire boardrooms, and terrifies people with nothing more than a raised brow. She should feel proud. She said no. She stood her ground. But her chest feels tight, a knot pulling every direction at once. Inside the skyscraper, Nicholas watches her through the tinted windows. His jaw locks. His fingertips tap the marble table once, slow and deliberate. She thinks she can walk away, he thinks. She believes he will let her. He reaches for his coat. Emily is halfway across the plaza when she hears the echo of polished shoes behind her. Steady, unhurried, like footsteps that already know their outcome. She stops. She does not want to turn, but she does. Nicholas Halden stands a few feet away, tall, sharply tailored, the city lights catching along the edges of his charcoal coat. His expression is unreadable, but his eyes hold something that makes the night feel smaller. "Emily," he says, voice low, "you misunderstood." "No," she replies, forcing air into her lungs. "I understood perfectly. You gave me an ultimatum. Follow my rules or go. So I am going." A faint breath leaves him, not quite a laugh. "You think you can just walk out. That is exactly what I am doing." She turns again, but his next words stop her cold. "You are not going anywhere." Her pulse stutters. She faces him slowly. He steps closer, hands in the pockets of his coat. Calm, controlled, dangerous in a way that has nothing to do with violence and everything to do with power. "I gave you conditions," he says, "because I needed clarity, not obedience. You reacted. Fine, but you do not get to leave in the middle of a negotiation." Her throat tightens. It was not a negotiation. It sounded like an order. Nicholas studies her face, the set of her jaw, the fear she is trying to hide, the spark of dignity she refuses to let go. His voice softens, but only slightly. "You need the position. I need someone who can stand beside me for the next 5 corporate events. A public partner, a stabilizing presence, someone the board cannot tear apart." He pauses. "It is a business arrangement, nothing more." Her breath catches. She heard rumors about this, that the board was pressuring him to settle his personal life before a major merger. She never imagined he would look at her and think she was the solution. "I am not entering a fake relationship," she says, even though she has nowhere to go tonight and her savings are barely enough for next month's rent. "You already did," Nicholas replies quietly. "When you walked into my office every day for the last 2 years and proved you could handle me better than anyone else." The words hit her harder than she expects. He glances around the plaza, empty, quiet, the wind rolling cold against their coats. His tone shifts, colder, more formal. "There are terms," he says. "Non-negotiable. 3 months, 5 events, no physical expectations, no interference in my personal decisions, and absolute confidentiality." The phrasing, the cadence, the control, it mirrors the structure in Content Monu 4. TXT, exactly. Legal, sharp, emotion held back like a blade she cannot see. Emily shakes her head. "You cannot just choose me. I already did." A taxi passes, spraying melted snow across the curb. She flinches, but he steps forward, blocking the splash without thinking. For a heartbeat, neither speaks. "Why me?" she whispers. Nicholas does not hesitate. "Because you do not want anything from me. And that makes you the only person I can trust to stand beside me without an agenda." The honesty, the chill in his voice, the loneliness under it, it unsettles her more than any threat could. Emily exhales slowly. Her world is shaking. His world is pulling her in. "This is a terrible idea," she says. "Yes," he answers, "but it is the one on the table." "They vivipac de Valoris," which was a 4E. She looks at him, the man who just threatened her job, now offering her something that feels even more dangerous. Nicholas lifts his chin slightly. Come back upstairs. Hear the terms properly. Then decide. Her heart pounds. Her life hangs in a quiet, suspended moment. And as the wind cuts through the plaza, Emily realizes something terrifying. She is not sure if she is walking back because she needs the money, or because a part of her wants to know why Nicholas Halden, the man who gives no one second chances, refuses to let her go. The elevator ride back to the 47th floor feels longer than it should. Emily stands beside Nicholas in tense silence, watching the lights climb past each number. Her hands tighten around the strap of her bag. Her mind does not stop moving. She should leave. She should run. But rent is due in 2 weeks. Her mother's medical bills grew again last month, and her savings, after helping her younger brother through his community college tuition, are painfully thin. The elevator doors open with a soft chime. Nicholas steps out first, not looking back, trusting she will follow. That trust unsettles her more than the coldness in his voice. His office is exactly as she left it. Glass walls, clean angles, a skyline that looks like it belongs to a different species of humans. People like him, not people like her. He gestures to a chair. Sit. She does, because she needs to hear this. She needs to understand the terms before she signs away 3 months of her life. Nicholas remains standing. His presence fills the room the way a storm fills a horizon. Controlled, predictable, dangerous when ignored. You walked out, he says, but you did not walk away. There is a difference. Emily breathes slowly, grounding herself. Tell me why you want this arrangement. Tell me why it has to be me. He studies her, as if her reaction is part of the evaluation. The board is preparing to finalize the Halden-Breyer merger. The investors expect stability. They want a personal narrative that does not invite speculation. His jaw tightens. They want me to appear settled. Married, she says softly. Not married, he corrects. Accompanied, aligned, represented. He pauses. A partner in image, not emotion. Image, not emotion. The words land like cold metal. He walks behind his desk, retrieves a single folder, and places it in front of her. No rings, no photographs, no romantic illusions, just printed terms, bullet points, legal clarity. She opens the folder. 3 months, 5 events, strict confidentiality, a stipend that could cover 6 months of her mother's medication, medical insurance for a dependent, rent assistance for the duration of the agreement. Her throat closes. She did not expect numbers like these. Nicholas watches her quietly. I know your situation, Emily. Your supervisor shared your request for additional shifts. The payroll department flagged your insurance appeal last quarter, and you fainted at your desk last week because you skipped lunch. Heat rushes to her face. You had no right to look into any of that. Go. Scode one. I had every right, he answers calmly. If your life intersected with mine in a way that would affect corporate operations, it is not personal. It is verification. She shuts the folder. So, you think I am desperate enough to agree? I think you are capable enough to perform the role, he replies. And yes, I think you understand what this offer solves for you. The room goes silent. The truth is brutal. This contract could save her mother. It could stabilize her brother's tuition. It could lift the weight that has been crushing her since her father passed away 2 years ago, leaving debt and responsibility she has carried alone. Nicholas sits across from her, his posture straight, his tone steady. You need financial relief. I need a partner the board cannot weaponize against me. Our interests intersect. That is the foundation of every successful agreement. Thanks for watching. She looks at him, really looks. The restraint in his expression, the loneliness behind the control, the way he keeps his emotions locked like a vault. This is not a life, she whispers. This is an arrangement. Yes, he says. And arrangements are often safer than lives. Lightning flickers across the skyline outside the window. The room dims for half a second. Emily closes the folder again, slower this time. She has reached the part of the story where dignity and survival collide, and she does not know which one will win. Emily keeps her hands folded on the table, steadying her breath as the weight of the folder presses against her fingertips. The numbers inside it are life-changing, but the reality around her feels suffocating. Nicholas Halden watches her without impatience, without warmth, simply waiting for her mind to reach the place he already stands. Finally, she lifts her eyes. If I agree, I need to know everything, every boundary, every expectation. The 5 second 12C. Nicholas nods once. Good. Then let us be explicit. He pulls a second document from his drawer. Thicker, more formal. The real contract. He sets it down between them. 4 primary terms, he says. Each one is non-negotiable. Emily straightens, bracing herself. Term 1, he continues. This arrangement remains strictly professional. No romantic obligations, no physical involvement, no mixed signals. We present a united front in public, but in private, we maintain separate lives. If you turns to the letting, she exhales quietly. The clarity steadies her. Term 2, you will accompany me to 5 corporate events. You will receive full wardrobe support, transportation, and access to a stylist. You will behave as someone aligned with my public image, not overshadowing it and not undermining it. Her pulse flickers. She has never been to a gala, never spoken to investors, never walked through rooms where fortunes rise and fall with a handshake. Term 3, Nicholas says, confidentiality. You do not speak of this arrangement to anyone, not your family, not your co-workers, not your friends. Breaking confidentiality ends the contract immediately. That one stings the hardest. Her family is all she has, yet she will have to keep them entirely in the dark. And term 4, he says, closing the list. You do not interfere with my personal decisions, my work, my schedule, my relationships. Emily tenses. Relationships, has to Priest. Meaning, he clarifies calmly, you are not to interpret this arrangement as emotional territory. If the board pressures me about companionship, you will fill the role publicly. That is all. The coolness of his voice cuts more sharply than any threat. He slides a pen across the table. If you accept, sign at the bottom. If you decline, you walk out. And this never happened. He waits. The office feels larger than before. Higher, colder. The city lights blur against the glass like distant stars she will never reach. She opens the contract. Inside, the words feel clinical, exact, almost surgical. They resemble the contract structures in Content Menu 4, TXT. Bullet points, duties, mutual benefits, clauses protecting his image, clauses compensating her stability. The stipend for her mother's medication sits in a clean, emotionless font. She swallows hard. Nicholas speaks again, softer this time. I am giving you control. You choose this or you walk away. I will not chase you a second time. Control. The word anchors her. Her life has felt out of control for years. Bills, shifts, illness, responsibility, fear. Now, for the first time, control sits inches from her hand. A pen, a signature, a decision that will change every corner of her life. Emily inhales slowly, her chest rising, her pulse steadying as she lifts the pen between her fingers. Nicholas watches her, his expression unreadable, as if the outcome does not affect him at all, even though both of them know it does. She signs. The sound of the pen against paper is soft, but it echoes through the room like a door closing behind her. Nicholas nods once, accepting the new reality between them. We begin tomorrow. Emily places the pen down. Her hand shakes, but she keeps her face still. Tomorrow, she will step into his world, and she has no idea what that world will demand of her. Morning arrives sharper than Emily expects. She barely sleeps, replaying the contract in her mind, the way the pen felt in her hand, the way Nicholas said, "We begin tomorrow," as if tomorrow were a destination she had never traveled to. At precisely 8 o'clock, a black town car waits outside her apartment building. The driver, polite and distant, opens the door without explanation. Inside, a sleek binder sits on the seat with her name embossed on the front. Emily opens it. A full schedule, wardrobe fittings, stylist consultations, a crash course in corporate etiquette, preparation for the first event, the Halden Breyer Investors Dinner, 3 nights from now. Her stomach tightens. This is no longer theory. This is motion. The car brings her to a private studio overlooking the river, a place wrapped in white light and soft music. Inside, a woman named Serena greets her with the kind of calm confidence that belongs in magazines. "You must be Emily," Serena says warmly. "Nicholas sent your measurements. We will begin with silhouettes that match your posture." Emily blushes. "He sent what?" Serena smiles gently. "He is extremely thorough. Do not worry. You will look like yourself, just refined for public settings." The next hour moves like a montage she does not quite feel part of. Fabrics glide across her shoulders. Jewelry is tested, then removed. Hair is pinned, unpinned, and pinned again. Serena steps back, evaluating her with the precision of an artist. "You carry seriousness," Serena says. "It suits you. You do not need to pretend to be glamorous. You only need to look like you belong." Emily nods, though she does not feel like she belongs anywhere near this world. After the fitting, she is taken to a conference room inside Halden Industries, where a consultant named Victor waits with a stack of printed cards. "These are potential investor names," he explains. "You do not need to memorize them. You only need to know how to hold a conversation without revealing your discomfort." He teaches her posture, where to rest her hands, how to navigate a reception line, how to leave a conversation politely without causing offense. Every instruction feels foreign, but Emily absorbs it carefully. Her life has depended on far harder skills. As the session ends, Victor studies her with measured approval. "You learn quickly. That will matter." By early afternoon, the town car returns her to the 47th floor. Nicholas waits near the glass wall, hands in his pockets, his gaze softened by something almost unrecognizable. She stops in front of him. "I completed everything you scheduled." He scans her face. "Good. You will adapt faster than I expected." Emily inhales, steadying herself against the pressure of his world pressing in from every angle. "I want to ask something." "Go on," he says. "Why are you doing all of this for me? The clothes, the lessons, the preparation. You could have chosen someone already familiar with this life." Nicholas holds her eyes, unblinking. "Because those people come with agendas. You do not, and I need someone who does not step into this arrangement trying to own it." "Wise?" 40 said. His honesty hits harder than anything else today. For the first time, Emily sees the truth beneath his control. Nicholas Halden is not simply preparing her for his world, he is preparing his world for her. The night of the Halden Breyer Investors Dinner arrives faster than Emily expects. The world outside her apartment window glows with Chicago's evening lights, each one flickering like a warning. She stands in front of the mirror, adjusting the dark satin dress Serena selected, her hands trembling even though she tries to hide it. A knock. When she opens the door, Nicholas stands there in a tailored black suit, cold elegance wrapped in quiet control. His eyes travel over her appearance with a calm, unreadable assessment. "You look appropriate," he says. It is not a compliment, but strangely, it steadies her. The drive to the venue is silent. Emily watches the buildings blur past, her pulse ticking like a second heartbeat. Nicholas sits beside her, straight-backed, composed, as if he has already calculated every possible outcome of the night. When they arrive at the Grand Marlowe Hotel, the entrance glows with warm gold light. Expensive cars line the curb. Paparazzi wait at a distance. Guests in gowns and tuxedos glide through the doors like they belong to another era. Emily swallows hard. Nicholas steps out first, then turns to her. He offers his arm, formal and reserved. "You walk beside me, not behind." She slips her hand lightly onto his arm. His posture changes subtly, as if her presence completes a required image. Inside, the ballroom hums with music and low conversation. Crystal chandeliers scatter fractured light across polished floors. Emily follows Nicholas into the flow of guests, Victor's training echoing in her mind. Smile softly. Do not fidget. Do not let discomfort show. A group of board members approaches. Their greetings to Nicholas are warm, but their eyes shift to Emily with quick, assessing interest. "And this must be the woman you mentioned," one of them says, his tone too light to be harmless. Emily forces a poised smile. "It is very nice to meet you." A woman in a silver gown leans closer, her voice coated with sugar. "Where did you two meet?" Emily feels Nicholas stiffen beside her. The air sharpens. The truth is complicated. The lie must be simple. Emily breathes once, steady. "At Halden Industries," she answers gently. "I work there. We became aligned through shared responsibilities." The phrasing is neutral, safe, and professional. The woman's brows lift, surprised by the clarity of the reply. Before the tension can settle, another man steps in. "Emily, what do you do at the company?" Emily feels every gaze lock onto her. Her mind flickers through possible traps in the question. If she undersells herself, she looks unprepared. If she oversells, she may appear pretentious. She chooses truth wrapped in composure. "I support operational logistics," she says. "It is not glamorous, but it keeps the company running efficiently. I am grateful to contribute." The board members exchange a quick, impressed look. Then someone laughs gently. "Operational logistics is far more difficult than people admit." The pressure eases. just slightly. Nicholas turns his head toward her, so subtly the group does not notice, but she feels it. Approval, quiet, controlled, almost warm. As the group disperses, he leans in a fraction. "You handled that well." Emily exhales, her shoulders loosening. "I remembered what Victor taught me." "No," he says. "You answered with your own mind. That is what mattered." For the first time that night, she lets herself breathe fully. She may not belong to this world, but she has proven she can survive it. And Nicholas has noticed. The evening drifts on with polished conversations, clinking glasses, and the soft glow of chandeliers painting gold across every surface. Emily keeps her posture straight, her smile measured, her breaths controlled. Every step she takes beside Nicholas feels like walking a thin line between two worlds. But she survives the introductions, the questions, the subtle tests. By the time the orchestra shifts into a slower melody, her feet ache, and her throat feels dry from polite conversation. Nicholas senses it before she says anything. "Come with me," he murmurs. He guides her out of the ballroom and into a quieter hallway, framed with floor-to-ceiling windows. The city stretches beyond the glass in shimmering lights, the kind that make Chicago look softer than it truly is. Emily lets out a breath she did not realize she had been holding. "I thought I would break in there." "You did not break," Nicholas says. "You adapted." There is no coldness in his voice now, no boardroom tone, just truth, delivered plainly. Emily turns toward the window, her reflection faintly outlined against the city. It is overwhelming, all of it. The way people look at you, the expectations, the pressure. It feels like walking into a story that is already written. Nicholas stands beside her, his hands tucked into his pockets. "That is exactly what it is. A story, one I have been forced to perform for years." She glances at him, surprised by the honesty. His gaze remains on the skyline, but his shoulders shift, as if dropped by a fraction. "Everyone expects something," he says quietly. "Control, strength, precision. They do not care who I am, only what I represent." There is something about the way he says it, not dramatic, not self-pitying, just factual, like the truth has been pressed flat over time. Emily hesitates, then speaks softly. "People forget that being powerful does not mean being invulnerable." Nicholas turns to her. The directness in his eyes feels different tonight, unshielded. "And what do you expect from me, Emily?" The question catches her off guard. I do not expect anything." "Exactly," he says. "That is why I chose you." Silence settles between them, not heavy, not uncomfortable, just real. She shifts her weight, fingers brushing the edge of the window frame. "I thought you hired me because I was convenient, easy to manage." Nicholas gives a faint exhale, almost like a laugh. "You are not easy to manage. You proved that the moment you walked out of my office." Heat rises to her cheeks, but the words steady her more than any compliment could. Outside, a siren wails in the distance. Inside, the dim lighting paints soft shadows across Nicholas's face, softening his sharp edges. He studies her for a long moment. "You handled the board better than most people I have brought to these events." "That is not saying much," she replies gently. "It is," he answers, "because I have never trusted anyone to stand beside me this way." Emily's breath catches. Something shifts between them, not romantic, not dramatic, just a quiet, undeniable understanding. A small crack in the armor. She looks out at the city again, steadying herself. "I will do my best to keep up." Nicholas nods slowly. "I know. I can be steed." For the first time since signing the contract, Emily does not feel like she is acting. And for the first time, Nicholas does not look like a man performing a role. He looks human, fallible, and strangely alone. She wonders what other truths hide beneath the surface of the man who never lets anyone close, and whether she is prepared to see them. The hallway moment softens something between them, but the world outside does not stay soft for long. When Nicholas and Emily return to the ballroom, conversations shift like tides. People move differently, eyes track them with sharper interest. Something has changed in the room, and Emily feels it before she can name it. A woman approaches, tall, elegant, confident in the way only someone born into privilege can be. Her silver dress glitters under the chandelier, and her smile carries a familiarity that places her directly in Nicholas's past. "Hello, Nicholas," she says, voice smooth as glass. Nicholas's posture changes, shoulders tense, jaw tight. Clara. Emily has never heard that name before, but the way it hangs between them tells her everything. This woman mattered, or tried to. Clara shifts her attention to Emily, her eyes scanning every detail of her appearance with clinical interest. "So this is the mystery woman," Clara says. "I did not think Nicholas would bring someone tonight. You know he usually comes alone." "Away." Emily keeps her shoulders steady. "It is very nice to meet you." Clara steps closer, lowering her voice enough to pretend courtesy while ensuring Emily hears every word. "And how long have you two been aligned?" The word drips with skepticism. Nicholas answers before Emily can speak. "It is not relevant." Clara ignores him. Her gaze stays on Emily. "You must be very special for him to choose you. He is not known for forming attachments." She pauses, then smiles thinly. "Although he is very good at pretending." The implication slices clean. Emily's breath catches. "I do not think this is an appropriate place for—" Clara interrupts softly, but her voice holds steel. "I was engaged to Nicholas once." The words land like a blow. Nicholas's eyes harden. "Clara, stop." But she does not stop. The strike is intentional now, sharp and direct. "Everyone knows Nicholas does not commit without a reason," Clara says. "So, tell me, Emily, what exactly does he gain from you?" The music continues, but the air around them feels frozen. Emily feels heat rise into her face, embarrassment, anger, confusion, all tangled. She looks at Nicholas, expecting him to speak, to defend, to cut through the humiliation Clara is crafting. But Nicholas remains silent, not out of agreement, not out of cruelty, out of shock, the kind of shock that locks a man's expression before he regains control. But the damage is done. Clara leans in, her whisper sharp as glass. "Careful, dear. Men like him do not choose without calculating the cost, and they do not stay when the cost grows too high." Nicholas finally steps forward, voice low, dangerous. "You are out of line." Clara only smiles. Emily steps back, her pulse unsteady. The ballroom spins in a slow, disorienting blur. Her composure cracks, not from Clara's cruelty alone, but from the sudden, terrifying thought that maybe she is exactly what Clara implies, a temporary solution, a placeholder, an arrangement. She turns away. "Emily," Nicholas calls quietly, but she does not stop. She walks out of the ballroom with her breath tight in her chest, wondering if she just saw the future. She signed herself into a future where she is never more than a convenient name on a contract. And for the first time since this agreement began, she is afraid that Clara might be right. Emily pushes through the ballroom doors and steps into a quiet service corridor, her breath tight and uneven. The muffled music behind her feels distant now, swallowed by the cold hallway air. She leans against the wall, pressing a hand to her chest, trying to steady the weight inside it. Clara's words replay again and again. Pretending, calculating, convenient. Emily closes her eyes, fighting the sting. Footsteps echo down the corridor. Nicholas appears at the far end, his expression carved from tension and something deeper, something he rarely lets anyone see. He approaches without rushing, but the intensity in his eyes feels like a force pulling the air around them. "Emily," he says quietly, "do not walk away." She keeps her gaze fixed on the floor. "I needed space." "You needed protection," he answers, "and I failed to give it at the moment you needed it most." She looks up sharply. Those words do not sound like the controlled, untouchable Nicholas Halden the world knows. Emily swallows hard. Clara said things that made sense. She knows you. She knows what you want. She knows what you value. Nicholas steps closer, his voice sharper now. "Clara knows nothing about what I value. Nothing." Emily hesitates. "Then why did you not say something? Why did you stand there and let her imply that I am nothing but—" "I froze," he admits, jaw tight. "I did not expect her to attack you. I did not expect her to go that far. And I miscalculated. That is on me." The honesty steals her breath. Nicholas steadies himself. "Come back with me." "I cannot," she whispers. "Not if everyone in that room thinks I am pretending to be something I am not." His posture straightens. A decision forms in his eyes, sharp and immediate. "Then I will make sure they know exactly who you are." Before she can respond, Nicholas extends his hand. Not commanding, not cold, a gesture of invitation. "Walk with me." Emily hesitates, then places her hand in his. Nicholas leads her back through the doors and into the ballroom. Conversations falter, heads turn. The room senses something shifting. Nicholas releases her hand only long enough to step toward the central platform, the space reserved for leadership announcements. His voice carries clean and steady across the room. "I want your attention. Silence falls instantly. He looks over the crowd, then back at Emily. Some of you have questioned the presence of the woman beside me tonight. Some of you have spoken with disrespect, and some of you have made assumptions rooted in your own insecurities rather than truth. Nose. A ripple moves through the guests. Nicholas continues. So let me make this clear. Emily is here because I trust her, not because she is convenient, not because she is a placeholder, because she is the only person whose integrity I do not have to question. Clara stiffens where she stands. Nicholas's gaze does not waver. You will treat her with the same respect you show me, and if that is too much to expect, then you should question your place here, not hers. Dorley, wary you can the favor. Celia, be doys alive. Whispers sweep through the room, stunned and unfiltered. Emily stands frozen, the weight of his words sinking in, deeper and deeper, until her chest tightens with something she cannot name. Nicholas steps down from the platform and returns to her side. He offers his arm again, this time not as part of an arrangement, but as a choice. I should have defended you sooner, he says softly, but I am doing it now. Don't. Emily looks at him, seeing him not as the man who crafted a contract, but as the man who just broke his own rules to protect her. Something shifts between them, something real. The ballroom slowly regains its rhythm, but nothing feels the same. Nicholas's declaration still hangs in the air, reshaping the room, reshaping the way people look at Emily, and reshaping the quiet space between the two of them. Nicholas escorts her toward a quieter corner near the tall velvet curtains, away from the curious eyes. His voice lowers, no longer shaped for the crowd. It is shaped for her. I did not plan to say any of that tonight, he admits. Emily lets out a soft breath. It did not sound planned. It was not, he says simply. It was necessary. For the first time since the night began, Emily feels something anchor inside her, something solid, something steady. She studies him in the warm light, the edges of his face softened by the chandelier glow. There is a sincerity there that she has never seen in him before. You stood up for me, she says quietly. I should have done it the moment Clara spoke, Nicholas replies. You deserved better. Emily shakes her head gently. I am not used to being defended. Then get used to it, he says, his voice firm but not commanding. Because I will not allow anyone to speak to you like that again. Her heart tightens. She is not sure when his words stopped sounding like contractual responsibility and began sounding like something else entirely. Nicholas reaches into his coat and pulls out a thin envelope. He holds it between them. This, he says, is the contract. Emily's breath catches. He tears it cleanly down the center. The paper rips with a sound that feels far louder than it is, a single line slicing through the space between them. He drops the pieces into a nearby trash bin, his movements decisive. Emily stares at him. Nicholas, what are you doing? I am ending it, he says. Not because you failed the role, because the role does not define us anymore. She steps back slightly, overwhelmed. The merger, the board, the expectations you needed, the arrangement. Nicholas shakes his head. Tonight proved something important. Standing beside you did not weaken my position. It strengthened it. And not because you played a part, but because you stood as yourself. Emily feels her pulse stumble. Nicholas continues. I do not want a contract. I want honesty. And I want you to have the freedom to decide if you want to stay in my life without terms, without obligations, without pretending. The room around them fades to a distant hum, replaced by the steady rhythm of her heartbeat. She swallows. You are asking me to stay. I am, he says, as yourself, not as a partner for events, not as an image, as someone I trust, someone I choose. Emily searches his face. And if I say yes, what does that mean? Nicholas steps closer, but not too close, enough to show intention, not possession. It means we begin again, without pressure, without expectations, on equal ground. A quiet expands between them, warm, real, safe. For the first time, Emily sees the man beneath the armor, a man who has been alone, not because he wanted to be, but because he did not know another way to exist. She takes a slow breath. Nicholas, I do not know what our future looks like. He nods. Neither do I. But, she continues, her voice steadier, I know what tonight meant. I know what your words meant. And I know that I want to stay, not because of what you can give me, but because of who you showed me you are. He's like towards. Something softens in Nicholas's expression in a way she has never seen before. He extends his hand again, not as a CEO, not as a man in control, but as someone offering trust. "Then stay," he says quietly, "for the right reasons." Emily places her hand in his, the connection gentle and certain. The orchestra swells in the background as they step back into the ballroom together, no longer performing a role, but beginning something honest, something real. The world around them continues to spin, but for the first time, it feels like they are moving in the same direction. And somewhere deep inside, Emily knows, this is no longer a contract. It is a choice, and it is theirs,